You've seen him played by Thomas Jane in The Punisher. You've also seen The Punisher played by Ray Stevenson in Punisher Warzone, and John Bernthal, if I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know, in Netflix's Daredevil and soon to be his own show. But do you remember the greatest Punisher performance in cinema history, Dolph Lundgren in the 1989 classic, The Punisher?
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Guilty Movie Pleasure.
Oh yeah, man!
Yeah!
Yes, sir!
That snuck up on me. That intro snuck up on me. I was too busy thinking about how I sort of fucked up the intro by saying you've seen him as Thomas Jane in The The wording was strange. The syntax of that sentence was very bizarre.
It's all good.
I'm sure our fans are really analyzing that. Your grammar was strange today, Ben. I liked everything else.
Doesn't know how to say things.
Ben doesn't know how to say. We are talking The Punisher today. 1989. If society will punish.
I think this is the first one I've seen you have not on Blu-ray.
Yeah, this doesn't deserve Blu-ray. Actually, there isn't a U.S. release of the Blu-ray. That's the problem.
Oh, so you have to like watch it in Chinese or something?
This continues.
Korean.
This continues what I like to call Ben Begley comic book movie therapy.
Sure.
Where, yes, it is guilty movie pleasures, but the real reason we're here is to talk about my addiction to varying degrees of quality in superhero movies, where I own everything. And one of our fans tweeted, I got to start writing down their names, but he tweeted a couple movies that he owned, and I topped him by saying, I own all 3 Fantastic Four films that have been made,
That's
even the garbage fire of
Fant Four Stick? You own Fant Four Stick?
Fantastic Four. What?
Fant Four Stick. That's the new one.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
if you look
Four
at the
Stick,
movie that replaced the A with a 4.
Doesn't make any sense. Fan Four Stick. So yeah, Fan Four Stick. I own that. I own both Ghost Riders. I own even Elektra, even though I hated that movie.
Ooh, Lord!
But anything with a superhero, guess what, studios? You got my money, but I buy it in bargain bins for like $3 or something. I don't buy them. I only buy the good ones, like
you
Deadpool.
justify it however you want.
Deadpool, I buy full price.
When does that come out? Is that
yesterday?
Really?
Yeah, dude. Target
Shit.
exclusive. You get some postcards with it.
What?
Yeah, funny postcards. So,
On
anyways,
top of
back
that.
to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfection. I'm gonna let them understand from a young G's perspective. All right, there. I just showed my '90s hip hop. There we go.
Good Lord.
So this is The Punisher, 1989, and Dolph Lundgren in a performance that I like to call career-defining. Some may call life-changing.
Oh, sorry.
Some may call on Quaaludes. I said the entire performance. He's like, I looked in the mirror today to try and figure out an impression of it. That's good. And
punish you.
I don't think I can make my eyes look dead enough. If they were like, Ben, we're going to do a reboot of the 1989 Punisher, and we want you to be in it. I don't think I could do it, but they're like, you got to be exactly like Dolph. Let me try.
You got this.
Come on, God, answer me. I can't do it.
That was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That
It's
was
getting
pretty.
there.
You know, this is the first time I've ever seen this one.
You know who? Oh, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Real quick though, I did want to say that Louis Gossett Jr. acts his ass off in this movie. He's actually really good.
Yeah.
In that scene where he's like, I'm your friend too, I'm your family, motherfucker, and he's
Yeah.
in the jail cell. That's some real stuff, and you can tell he's getting,
like attacking him.
I almost thought that he was getting frustrated at how bad Dolph Lundgren was as an actor. Like, I thought it was like an actor being like, come on, fucking give me an emotion. Act.
Honestly, that's
Act, you
probably what it
motherfucker.
was.
It's what it looked like.
I've been in an acting class like that before.
Yeah.
So it was like, just get angry at me.
Yeah. I had a guy in college during a play. He was supposed to be like an abusive father figure in this weird Greek tragedy we were doing. And he grabbed a shoe and my shoe off my foot and shoved it in my mouth. And I jumped up and started strangling him, and then the director was like, whoa, hold on. I was like, he ever does that again, I'm walking. I'm out of here. I'm out of this after-school production in college that you're not paying me for. And then my buddy, the guy that, we're friends now, even though he shoved a shoe in my mouth, he had a little part in Captain America Civil War.
Oh, did he?
He was the dude that sends the German guy or whatever that sends the bomb to the factory. He was in the delivery truck. Brett Gentile.
Oh, yes.
Shoved a shoe in my mouth. Now he's in Civil War.
That's
I
all
guess
it
he
takes?
wins. I guess he wins.
That's all it takes?
He wins that battle.
At first, I thought you said your buddy who was in the Civil War. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
He's a vampire. So let's get into this. So when I first saw, I want to know. Well, I'll tell you when I first saw it first because you're fresh eyes to this.
Yeah.
This movie, 89. I would have been 7 years old. You probably weren't even born.
-1. Yeah.
God, you young son of a bitch. So, anyways, I was 7 years old, and I remember seeing a preview for this at or seeing the box at the video store because we used to have this thing, kids, called video stores, and they had VHS. Do you know what a VHS is?
I do. I had to. The last video store I rented something from, I had to give them my social security number.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. And
hell?
late fees. We talked about late fees when we talked about the big
late
hit.
fees.
So video stores. You remember video stores. We talked about it on a big hit a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I looked at the box and I was like, oh my God, it's the Punisher. He's so awesome. And then I looked, I'm like, shit, it's rated R. I'm 7. I'm not allowed to watch this. And I remember taping it off of network television. It was somehow on that years later.
How?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was like, but it was severely edited. And
I would imagine, my God.
it was a 30-minute movie. But I remember watching it, and even I watched half of it, and my parents still thought it was too violent and wouldn't let me finish. So this and RoboCop were like my two forbidden fruits growing up. Now,
RoboCop.
before anybody freaks out, RoboCop is a far superior film.
Yeah.
They're not even in the same league, but both of them were movies that my parents refused to let me watch. So when I finally was able to sneak around them and get it, it's quality or not, this movie still makes me giddy when I watch it because it's so ridiculous. It's so 90s.
I just
80s,
love
89.
this friggin' movie. 89, yeah. It was 90s. It felt very 90s, even though it was 89.
Yeah.
But
it's
what
on
I
the
liked
cusp.
about this is last week we did Captain America from 1990.
1990, but it didn't come out
And-
theatrically till in
92. Yeah,
Got
so-
two-year delay.
Captain America, I felt it felt like a student film. This looked like a movie,
Yeah.
but there were so many things in it. It was like, what's
the best?
the action when there's? I'm trying to think of one scene in particular. I think it's when,
how about when
he
there's-
kicks down on somebody's face.
He kicks down through the vent in the beginning, and a knife lodges in the guy's
Yes.
chest.
And the guy barely responds to it. It's
I
just
don't-
like, it's on one shot.
I don't know how the knife was rigged on his boot.
I have no idea.
He has like a knife. They never show
Clearly
you
not a
that,
jogger.
But he, yeah, a very
Christ.
dangerous jog. Only treadmills for you. You can't go out in public with those things.
I don't know. I did love this one though. And there was
It's so fun.
what was great about it is like there's so many action scenes in it. One in particular, which we talked about before in the what do you call it?
The Funhouse one is awesome.
Is it the Funhouse?
Where they're sliding down the carnival slides, and they're like there's like 20 dudes going down these loops and machine guns like.
Yes, because that scene, there's so many shots where it's like I think everybody's dead,
Yeah.
and you're still shooting. I love that.
It's so fun. This movie.
Tearing it up just for the sake of tearing it up.
This movie. Here's something that's always bothered me though. On the back, you probably can't see it, but there's a picture of it looks like the girl in the movie or something.
Can I see?
Yeah, because remember she says I was Vice on one of your first things to Louis Gossett Jr. Sam, the female partner who just serves no purpose and disappears. There's apparently like a deleted scene where Frank Castle was a cop before he was an emotionless, sociopath.
I really wanted to see him as a cop.
I did too. I wanted
Yeah.
to see some flashbacks more than just like him awkwardly running up and the car blowing up.
You have the
Jimmy!
You have the
So-
right to remain silent.
This movie, I've read a lot of fan reviews as well on Amazon and other places that they say that they feel this is better than the Thomas Jane one. I agree 100%. I think the Thomas Jane one, I don't know if you've seen that one with John Travolta. It's super. For me, it made The Punisher kind of more weak sauce comparatively. I haven't watched the second season of Daredevil yet, which I know is blasphemy, but my wife and I wait till all the current shows are done and then we binge the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And we also wait a little bit so we don't have to wait a full year.
I
That's
always
what
like
hate
wait
about
until after the hype is over a
Yeah,
bit too,
I
because
don't
you
like-
can make up your own mind
Yeah.
about it.
I don't like waiting a full year for another TV season.
No, I just started the first season of that.
It's so
actually.
good.
Yeah, it's
So
really good.
But so this movie, I feel like this is my second favorite Punisher movie though, because we've done on the show earlier last year we did Punisher Warzone, which is actually my favorite with Ray Stevenson, and it's bananas. If you
When
haven't
was
seen
that
it,
one? I haven't
that came
seen
out
that
in
one.
2008
I don't think I've
or
seen
9.
that one. No.
It's bananas. It's like a really well-made movie that happened. It's well shot and well lit and looks beautiful, and it's gory as shit and it's ridiculous. But this movie is just so 90s and so awesome, and I've been wanting to do it on the show for a while, so I'm very glad we're here today.
Yes.
Before we waste any more time, let's do the plot in 3 minutes, because holy shit, we have a lot to talk about.
Ben,
today.
this is going to be the struggle bus hardcore.
Oh, I'm so
the only
excited.
thing I can remember in terms of plot is Yakuza boss.
She's kind of hot too,
I was
right?
very attracted
She's
to her.
actually a good actress too.
I thought she was fantastic.
She was a solid villain. It's so
even when she gets a
weird.
knife in the head.
It's so weird to watch her and Louis Gossett Jr. next to Quaaludes man, Dolph Lundgren, and then everybody else other than Dolph Lundgren is pretty good in this movie.
Yeah.
Except all the henchmen. The henchmen are hilarious.
The henchmen and the kids. They,
So P. Hey, what are we doing over here? Everybody talks kind of like this. Hey, fuck you, man! I'm a stereotypical New York gangster.
did you notice all of the background actors were particularly high as well?
They
Like the volume, not high like in smoking weed, but like the volume of their voices
Yeah.
was so. It was like there was there was like news reporters in one of the scenes. It was just like, hey, things are happening in front of me.
Keep it going!
Yeah, keep it going.
Keep it rolling!
This is good stuff.
Are you getting this? Because there's the house that explodes. Oh yeah. Oh, we'll get into all that. We're getting carried away because this is so good. So we have 3 minutes on the clock. Are you ready, Zach? Sure.
Ready.
3.
Ben, you're gonna
2,
take it.
1. So the movie starts off with this awesome credit sequence where it's basically just him shooting all these glass like targets of bad guys and stuff.
That's right.
And then you start off with Frank Moretti, that's his name, and he's getting out of prison. He's like, hey, I feel great, just great. He sounds like a voiceover actor, and he's the head of the Franco family crime boss. He's getting out of prison, and he was linked to the murder of Frank Castle's wife and kids in the car bombing. And then the first scene is in the mansion. Punisher comes in, ropes, strangles a guy, stabs the guy with the boot knife, the boot knife, Das Boot, and then and then he sees the guy. He's like, you, shoots at him. Punisher does something, then flames come out. Dude comes out, knife in his back. Head of the Franco family falls over. The rest of the house blows up, and the Punisher somehow doesn't get killed in that. And then cut to the sewers because he's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja
he's
Turtles.
down there. He's below. We meet his friend who only speaks in rhyme for whatever reason.
He's a thespian.
Don't even remember what happens after that because I was so distracted by the rhymer.
First off, we missed that he meditates in the nude for some reason, and then and then we meet his thespian friend who gets lured out with a 40 ounce on a remote control semi truck, which is one of the funniest scenes ever. Who's his informant, and he finds out that there's this big shipment coming in of drugs, and the new Franco boss is saying, hey, we're gonna get all the gangs together,
all the families
together. But then at the docks, the Yakuza show up, and what happens?
Yakuza shows up and says, hey, guess what? I'm gonna take 75%
Kills everybody on the
of
docks.
everything. Boom, 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 gone.
Punisher gets hit. Van crashes into the river. Yes, back to the Yakuza
So
boss.
it takes 75% of all the profits. Says I'm going to run
And they're like,
all of the
"No
families,
way."
and they go, "Hey, what the fuck?" A lot of those people die.
Yeah, a lot of those people die,
Yeah.
definitely. And then so Punisher then finds out where the Yakuza are having all their. I can tell I've seen this way more
Steal
times.
the kids.
Where so the Yakuza steals all the mob boss's kids, and Johnny Franco, I forget his name, we'll figure out later.
Gianni Franco.
Yeah, sure. And he's like, hey, we gotta get our kids back. And then the Punisher's like, well, I gotta hit him where it hurts for the Yakuza. So he goes to the casino, does the 10-minute duck face shootout where he's just like,
Where 3 minutes in, he's killed everybody.
just does that for 10 minutes straight, blows everything up. Then we find out that the kids are being held hostage, so he goes there with a giant bus. If you want to jump in, or I can take it. Okay, fine.
Take it home, baby.
So then he shows up with a giant bus. He gets all the kids out, and then he in the most dangerous chase sequence ever put on film, he's driving around with these kids in a bus as all these dudes are shooting machine guns into the bus, somehow miraculously not hitting any of the kids. He saves all the kids, gets arrested, he gets out of prison, and then as soon as he gets out of prison, he gets kidnapped by the Yakuza, breaks out of there again, kills him, joins up with Franco, because Franco's like, hey, we gotta go kill this Yakuza, go get my... And then they team up together, buddy cop style, but then at the end, Franco's like, hi, you took care of all my competition, and then Punisher kills him and then says, you be a good kid, Johnny, not like your dad, and then he goes off, Frank! And that's what Louis Gossett Jr. says at the end.
And that's it. And what happens to the kid?
And I was
alone
thinking,
forever.
this could be kind of like a Kill Bill ending, where like the kid, if they ever made a sequel to this, it could be the kid growing up to being like, you killed my father when I was 10 in front of me. But the kid knew his dad was bad.
Yeah.
He's in denial in the
all
beginning.
of those kids knew, right?
Yeah. And all of them are now bastards.
They are
All their dads are dead. I know I'm jumping ahead, but one of my favorite scenes is when all the crime bosses go to meet the Yakuza leader, and they're like, hey, you can't fucking do this. Fuck you, we're out of here. And then the most hilarious hodgepodge, just potpourri of extras stand up with guns.
Yes.
There's like an old lady. There's like a guy that looks like he just got done golfing. They're just like, none of them look like criminals. None of them look like they were given any gun training at all. And they just stand up at like the signal of the Yakuza and are just like, they're holding the guns like, all right, we did it. And
everybody's dead.
And sit back down, and they murder everyone. That scene is so funny to me. But there's more.
I had a very crack up scene. It's when
There's so many. There's so many because this movie is such a great
the lady
balance
gets
of
shot.
Oh, which one?
With the bear.
What? Which one?
With the stuffed animal. The stuff.
She's reading. So to preface this, this is when. I'm sorry, it's so funny.
It was the funniest thing
so
I've ever seen in my life.
So funny. So this is when all the kids are being kidnapped by the Yakuza, and these two kids that look way too old to be being read a story by a nanny holding a giant fucking teddy bear. It's just a weird scene. She's reading the story to them, and then an unseen assailant walks in and silences, shoots a silencer into the bear, and blood comes through the bear, and she falls dead, and the kids are like, ah! Oh, it's so good.
She's just sitting there, poof, and it's gone. It's so terrible, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Zach, let me know when the sound clips are ready, because I have one that, right off the bat that I love.
My face hurts.
Dino Moretti is the crime boss in the beginning, and
that's right. Yeah.
First off, the credit sequence is super funny. It's like, it's just basically they use B-roll from the scene where he's shooting up the casino, and they show all these like. It's like Hogan's Alley almost, where it's like glass cutouts of bad guys and shattering.
It's almost like they were trying to do like a James Bond type intro.
They 100%
but it did not.
No.
But I still loved it.
I loved it.
Because the music was absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah. It's so good.
But yeah.
The first sound clip is Dino Moretti when he gets out of prison. What punished really means. This guy's voice, he sounds like he's just like a game show host or just like an actor on Family Guy. Can we play what punished really means?
Are you worried about the Punisher?
Now let me tell you something about this Punisher, whoever he is. If he ever shows up within 1,000 yards of me, he'll find out what the word punished really means.
That voice is amazing. If he shows up within 1,000 yards of me, he'll find out. He sounds like what's his name on Gilligan's Island? Huxtable. What's his name? Why can't I remember?
Mr.
Howell.
Mr. Howell.
Oh, lovey, here we are. If the Punisher shows up within 1,000 yards of this island.
Sounds like Walter Cronkite. That's
so
who it
good.
is. That's who it is.
So one gripe I do have about this movie that shows up pretty early on.
No.
Is that he doesn't have the skull on his chest, which is
he doesn't.
He only has it on his knives.
Yeah.
Which is kind of lame. They could have committed to that. They committed.
He
to
also kind of looks like a college student that's hungover.
Yeah.
Like really,
he definitely
just kind of sweaty, baggy eyes.
There is nothing likable about the Punisher in this movie.
Absolutely not.
Except for that he murders bad guys.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's no layers. There's no levels to his performance. He's just Quaaludes.
Yeah, just
Quaaludes
100%
and depression and flat out just
tequila
violence.
the previous day.
Yep, tequila. Yeah. He's just hungover.
Always hungover.
So we talked about. So then Dino Moretti goes into his house. And he's like, all right, check the house. We're going to party now that we're out of prison. I'm Walter Cronkite. And then we talked about the knife kicking through. And
it's so good.
Doesn't make any sense how that happens.
But that's what I want.
And then he brings down the guy that gets strangled is so funny to me, too. He's so overacting. He's like,
yes.
You're
being strangled. You can't. There's not a lot of noise that's going to go on.
No, it's so great.
Also, I just like to think that was the silent way of killing him. And it's like somebody walks by that stairwell and he's like,
there's several times.
Oh my God.
I'm jumping way ahead, but later on when they break into the Yakuza thing with Franco, he's hiding in a vent and he goes, psst. And the Yakuza guy walks over like, this vent just said psst to me. I
Yeah.
better investigate this.
Hang on a second.
And then he kicks through the vent, and the Yakuza guy goes, ah! And it's like, holy shit, that's your stealth way. The Punisher in this movie is not stealth. Luckily, all the bad
No.
guys are clearly deaf, because
Yeah.
they can't hear anything that's going on.
100% deaf.
Psst. If you ever want to sneak up on a Yakuza member, psst, just hide in a vent and do that. Oh my god, it's so good. So then he blows up the house, which I don't know where he disappears to, because he's standing in the doorway.
It didn't even look like him. It looked like a cardboard cutout of him.
But he moved.
He did, but it looked like, it legitimately looked like a cardboard cutout was standing there and it fell over.
It's just that his acting is that cardboard that
Maybe.
you thought it was. So Punisher's
This is perfect, though.
in the doorway as these news crew are like, oh my god, Dino Moretti's dead. Oh my god, keep it rolling. And then there's been one explosion already. Then he leaves and just gets out of the doorway, and all of a sudden, like Independence Day style, White House blowing up explosion happens.
Huge.
I don't care how good of an escape artist he is. How did he get out that quickly?
It reminds me of, what was the movie with the guy who put the gold statue on himself to protect himself
The Big
from...
Hit.
The Big Hit.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that scene, 'cause
Yeah.
it's like...
Did you hide under something?
I don't know.
Same thing happens though in the flashback when he's trying to save his parents, his
wife and kid,
kids.
yeah.
He's like, Jenny, and he's hitting on it, and then he elbows through the glass, and then the car just is like, and they don't show his body anywhere near it.
Clearly there was
So-
nuclear devices involved, I think.
I think that the Punisher in this movie, his superpower is he's fireproof. Apparently,
fireproof.
and maybe that's why he meditates naked so much, is because his clothes get burned off.
That makes sense.
Because if you didn't know, there's a super awkward, just him kneeling bare-assed in this amazingly dark opening voiceover. In fact, we're gonna play that now.
Oh, we have
where
that?
the Punisher loves Quaaludes, drinking, hanging out in the sewer, which is really weird that he has like a sewer lair. I don't remember that.
I think that was like a Batman.
I don't know if that was in the comics though. I don't know. If you know the Punisher comics better than me, I mean I read them, but I don't ever remember a sewer lair. So please correct me if I'm wrong. But let's play the clip "Come On God." Now, mind you, this is like 3 minutes into the movie, and this is our intro to the psychology of Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher.
That's right.
Come on, God. Answer me. For years I'm asking you why. Why are the innocent dead and the guilty alive? Where is justice? Where is punishment? Or have you already answered? Have you already said to the world, here is justice, here is punishment, here in me?
Did he go to an REO Speedwagon concert and just screamed all night? So he's like, why are the innocent dead?
Come on,
guilty
God.
alive?
Come on, God.
Come on, God.
That's
That's what I sound like when I wake up at 4 in the morning and go to my kitchen and there's no toaster strudels left.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Come on, God.
You know, oh shit, the toaster strudel got me. I'm trying to think of something to top that now.
Here is justice, here is punishment,
That's how.
here in me.
You know, that sound clip reminded me. I called T-Mobile the other day because I was very frustrated with my bill. You know this. I was texting you about it. I was super frustrated, and I finally got through to a manager. And after I was yelling and screaming, I finally calmed down, and they refunded me my money. And I just said into the phone,
Here is justice, here is punishment, here
"Can't even do it." That's true.
in me.
Yep. And they were
you're
like.
in me.
And they were like, that was very strange, sir. But we're glad we're glad you've been a loyal customer for 10 years now, and we hope you'll choose T-Mobile again. And I said, come on, God.
Come on, God.
What kind of plea to God is that, by the way?
Weird. You know,
Come on, God.
I have a drunk. One of my cousins. He's a little bit of a drunkard, and whenever we have Thanksgiving dinner, and they're like, "Hey, let's say grace." Every like 5 years, we'll give him a whirl. We'll be like, "All right, let's try a drunk cousin, see if he can get something going this year." And every year he just sits there for a moment, just pondering what to say. And we're all just sitting there like, the food's getting cold, dude. And then finally he just goes,
Come on, God.
there we go. And amen.
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 Dig in.
Oh my God.
Here's something funny I noticed.
Dolph Lundgren, my God.
You know, Louis Gossett Jr.'s character's name is Lieutenant Berkowitz.
Yes.
I've
Never met a human being that has that last name.
I'm not trying to. Berkowitz sounds very Jewish in descent.
Yeah.
And Louis Gossett Jr. Maybe he converted, but Berkowitz just does not look. That does not look like a name that would fit his character.
It does not at all.
It's like they wrote it with a New York Jewish actor in mind, and then they cast Louis Gossett Jr. and then never changed the name.
What is it again? Berkowitz?
Lieutenant Berkowitz.
You know, this is another thing. It was a made-up name. It was a temporary
We'll
name
figure it
for the
out.
script. Hey, what should we call this guy?
Berkowitz. I like that. And then we're introduced to Sam.
What's the Punisher's monologue going to be? Why innocent, guilty, guilty still alive? Come on, God, all that shit.
So then we're introduced. Oh shit, we only have 17 minutes. Oh my God.
Come on,
Forget
God.
Sam. Sam's introduced basically. She wants to be Berkowitz's partner.
Yeah.
It never really comes to fruition. There's no point for it.
So why is he so desperate, by the way?
I don't know. It's just so that
Get off it.
It's just so that they can have somebody to have a dialogue with
Berkowitz, yeah.
So that while he's investigating the aftermath of Punisher. Let's get to the thespian, because he shows up at a bar, and it's this drunk guy who looks like Xander Berkeley, if you know that actor.
I don't.
He looks like Xander Berkeley, but with like a lot of hair and British. And he
find out this
speaks
guy's
in
name.
iambic pentameter throughout the whole movie, like Shakespearean verse. And I didn't notice it until this time. I never noticed he rhymed. And I just sort of did too.
Did you? You didn't notice it this whole time?
I didn't notice it until this time watching it, or maybe I forgot it.
Really?
But he shows up at the bar, and the first comment he says to this drunk dude at the bar is, "Can we play the thespian clip?"
Whatever you can spare will be sufficient, I think, to stand this old thespian a very stiff drink.
What the hell's a thespian?
An actor, sir.
Oh, sure.
It's real. He gets so worried. He's like, "What the hell's a thespian? What did he think it was?"
You know, I actually went to a bar last weekend.
Uh-huh.
And I asked a girl if she wanted a drink.
Yeah.
Asked her out, and she said, "I'm sorry, I'm actually a lesbian." And I went,
Whatever you can spare will be sufficient, I think, to stand this old thespian a very stiff drink.
What the hell's a thespian?
An actor, sir.
and I said, "I think you mean a thespian."
And she went,
Oh, that's right.
"Oh, that's what I meant."
We got dinner.
So he gets kicked out of the bar after that. And we already talked about this in the 3-minute thing.
Barry Otto, by the way.
Is that he's lured by... The Punisher is also a master of remote-controlled semi-trucks that carry 40 ounces of booze. It's hysterical. He's out there collecting himself off the ground, and all of a sudden this semi-truck with a 40 comes out, and he's like, ah, ha, 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 and it's just fast enough that he can't... You can tell the actor was like, "I really wish this is going faster."
Yeah, I gotta pretend to struggle to
He's
get it.
actually really good too. He's a good actor.
I liked it. Barry Otto is his
I liked
name.
his character a lot.
Yeah.
So then he gives the Punisher some information about the docks that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then my favorite thing is what he says to the Punisher as he's leaving. He calls him Mr. P. Can we play the Mr. P clip?
Mr. P! Happy hunting!
You know,
Mr. P, happy hunting.
you know, it's weird. I went on a celebrity hunting trip. I don't hunt.
Yeah.
But I went just to like help out because it was for charity. And
charity was it?
I wasn't the the Lonely Bucks of America. You know, for I don't know. Fuck it. It was a hunting trip, and Master P was there.
Sure.
And I was like the caddy for the hunters. Like, so
Oh, yeah.
instead of like giving them golf clubs, I give them different rifles to hunt.
That's a hunting
And
caddy.
Mr. P was like, "Give me what gun you think." And I handed him a rifle, and as he was walking off in the woods, I yelled,
Mr. P! Happy hunting!
and he just looked back at me like, This is so
I don't
dumb.
even know if I can follow that one up. Come on, God. You really wanted to raise money for that charity, and you were like, "Come on, God."
Do I have... And then he goes to the docks. We got to keep moving, I guess, because they're
Yeah.
kicking us out soon. So then he goes to the docks, and the Yakuza show up and have the most hilarious... The best thing about this is all the throwing knives and throwing...
There's so many things going
They throw
on.
these spike balls that
Yeah.
look like...
It reminded me. Do you remember they had like a toy that had spikes on it. You press the button and it like shakes and
that's what it
vibrates.
looked like.
That's what it looked like.
But it's deadly.
But
because
yeah.
you just see this weird,
Horrifying.
awkward, sped up shot of it flying, and then a close up of it hitting somebody, and the main bad guy's checking in with it, be like, "Hey, how you guys doing up there?" And the one guy's like, "What?" And he goes, "Is everything okay?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then as soon as he hangs up, he gets stabbed through just really easily through the windshield.
It was like butter.
Like, just that windshield was just like, "Seek." But the best is the next guy. He's like, he calls up, so he's checking in on all the guys as the Yakuza are killing them off, or the Punisher, we're not sure.
Yeah.
And can we play the...
Red 2, what have you got?
Yeah.
Bad kidneys. I gotta pee.
So, Pete, everything's okay?
Yeah. It's dead here.
No sooner... Yeah, it's dead here.
Dead here.
I love when action movies use overt puns right before killing someone. Oh my god.
It's dead here. Say that again real quick, Zach.
Dead here.
I don't. That clip's too funny to
What the
even
hell am I
improv
even
with.
gonna say? Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna
my
say something
God.
about going to the club. There was nobody dancing, and I was like,
Dead here.
and somebody shot me.
It gets too weird. My favorite part of this action scene, because I want to make sure I hit the parts that I love the most, is when all this craziness, the Yakuza is basically fucking up all these wise guys,
Yeah.
and then the Punisher shoots a grappling hook down into a dude's chest that pins him to a van, and then he zip lines down, and he's just like, "Grrrr," and all the guys are like, we can't hit him.
I love the Punisher's style
good.
of shooting because I feel like I can relate. Anytime I play a video game that has any kind of I run and spray. The spray method.
Arnold did
agree
it in
with it.
Commando, and
It's perfect.
and
It's
it worked.
flawless.
It's worked ever since. So basically, he shoots a bunch of people. He gets the van and crashes all the dope into the river, and then he gets a knife in his chest. Then he's healing it the way every hero heals themselves who lives in a sewer or off the grid and can't go to the hospital. He has the knife on the coals, and it's piping hot, and he raises it up to his wound, and he lets out. Can we play the scream? Holy shit. The 90s. And, the other day, I was like, I'm going to make a nice dinner for my wife.
Yeah.
And I was using, it was a cast iron skillet.
On top of it, yeah.
And on top of the stove. And I didn't realize, it's all iron, so the handle gets hot too. And she was coming home, and I wanted to be like, surprise, I made you dinner. And as I lifted the skillet, it burned my hand. I dropped everything and just went... Oh, it's so bad. So bad.
I like to wake up to the smell of bacon,
Yeah.
and so I time a George Foreman grill.
That can be dangerous.
Yes.
I want you to know.
And actually, this happened this morning, oddly enough. I don't know if you all noticed the bandage on my foot.
I did. I was going to ask about it.
I woke up, the alarm went off as it normally does, and I forgot that I put the George Foreman grill near the floor. Ooh. What happens when I get out of bed? I step right on it, and I went...
That's also the most emotion that Frank Castle gives us in this movie.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Not even when his wife dies is it that emotional.
No.
Just a burn.
Next plot points are the Yakuza gives Franco the ultimatum, which we talked about. Actually pretty good in the 3-minute thing. And they're all like, fuck you, we're not doing this. No way. 75%. That's ridiculous. And then Dolph has no legit expression I wrote down, which we've already talked about. So then the kids get kidnapped. And and that's when the mob boss is like, no way, man, we gotta get our kids back, and the only person that can save them is the Punisher, and they all think he's dead. But then Thespian comes by in the sewer again to tell the Punisher and be like, you gotta save the children. What about the children? They're the innocents.
By reading a Dr. Seuss novel.
Yes. And there's an amazing clip in here where he gets startled by the Punisher and says another career choice he could have in the theater, maybe. Consider the theater.
You know, with your flair for entrances, you should consider a career in the theater.
I'll think about it.
I'll think about it.
I'll think about it.
You know, that's how...
He sounds like the guy from Family Guy.
Yeah. You know what? I got a call from one of those like timeshare places because I'd filled out to win free tickets to Comic-Con, and then they called me and they were like, "You won," and I'm like, "Sweet, I'm going to Comic-Con." They're like, "No, but you can show up and we're going to tell you about vacation homes. It's this Saturday from 12 to 4." And I just before I hung up, I said,
I'll think about it.
I was on my rotary landline. I'll think about it.
My brother called me and said, "Hey, Mother's Day is Sunday. You should call Mom." And I said,
think about it.
"Sorry, Mom." And then I did call her.
Yeah.
She picked up. She did not sound too pleased, and she said,
Come on, God.
"Yes,
Zach! You read his mind. If we weren't crammed for time,
We'll be right back."
I would keep going on this. So then he then, in order to draw out and figure out where the kids are, he goes and shoots up a casino. That before it's an underground casino with the lamest Cirque du Soleil act ever going on.
Horrible.
And this strange androgynous bodybuilding woman instead of strippers, and this guy's like, "Fuck yeah!" It's like a weird fetish club casino.
It's a very odd.
He comes in, there's literally, it felt like 10 minutes of just him shooting. It's like they just had all these explosives and they were like, "We got these machines for like $2 each. Let's just blow them up."
Fucking push
and
the
he's just
buttons.
That actually hurt so much. It's for like 10 minutes just... He looks ridiculous. It's just duck face. And then
That's a very good impression.
It's so hard on your throat.
It is.
So he finds out that the kids are being held somehow.
Somewhere safe.
Yeah, somehow he gets led to an amusement park. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the amusement park where the greatest... Is that where it happened already?
Kids?
He saves the kids. No, the abandoned amusement park happens before. Okay. So the abandoned amusement park happens before.
It does?
Yeah, I think so, unless I just missed everything.
I was too distracted by the kids.
No, it's later. So he goes to the amusement park before to try and get another lead, and when he goes to this amusement park, it's an abandoned park, and he's trying to be sneaky, rolling up in his Harley, just like... And then he wonders why 40 Yakuza come sliding down the slides at him, which is the funniest way. They're on their knees.
So
like,
ridiculous.
Yadoo! It's like a, what are those called? Like a toboggan chute? Like,
yeah, toboggan chute, yeah. It looked like a episode, or like a Mario Kart.
Oh my god, it's so good.
It looked like a level on Mario Kart.
And then he gets kidnapped by the Yakuza,
Yeah.
where they're stretching him out on the machine. And he somehow manages with one finger to unscrew it very fast.
And grab the gun.
And grab the gun and
I like
shoot
when you
everybody.
put the other guy on the stretcher.
We have that sound clip.
We do?
Yeah, when he puts the other guy on the stretcher, he says, "A great stretch this out cliche." Can we play Stretch This Out? Zach?
I don't want to stretch this out, so why don't you tell me where the kids are?
I don't want to stretch this out.
That's the most personality he has on the home. "I don't want to stretch this out, so let's tell me where the kids are."
He sounds like a college student.
It's so great. Oh my
I don't want
god.
to stretch this out.
So then...
I say that to the chiropractor every time I go.
I forgot about when in the scene where they kill the mob bosses that we talked about earlier with all the random hodgepodge of extras.
Yeah.
The stepdaughter, or the adopted daughter, takes off her earrings and throws
That was
them.
the best
That was the
freaking
greatest
thing
That was
ever.
the greatest part of the movie, where he gets pinned.
Oh my god,
the
that was so amazing.
The earring stabs his wrist and stabs his hand, and just blood is pooling out. He got stigmata'd by her earrings.
I had to look back because I
shit.
thought first I didn't see that it was her earrings. I had to rewind it a couple times. I thought she took her necklace off.
Oh, no.
And somehow by the time she threw it, it
So
turned
good.
into these two stabby thing. It was the best freaking thing ever.
It's so good. And then it leads to the greatest extras with guns ever. Now, he finds the kids. He hijacks a bus. He finds the kids. And to calm them down, because he comes in looking kind of scary with a gun.
Yeah, and
he
asleep.
tells the kids to not be afraid, and I think it works. Can we play that?
Let's hit that.
It's all right. Don't be afraid.
It's the creepiest way.
It's all right. Don't be afraid.
I'm pretty sure.
That's what I every time I have a Tinder date, I just walk up and they go like this, and I go,
Don't be afraid.
I like that you mouthed it weird too.
I always say,
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I went to a sushi restaurant with a B rating, and I got, they could tell I was a little nervous, and I was like, I'm just gonna get cooked food, and they're like, no, try the spicy tuna, it's fine. And I said, I should probably just go cooked. And then the chef pulled out a knife and looked at me and said,
It's all right. Don't be afraid.
I said, well, shit, I'm not going to argue with a knife wielding
I got my
chef.
first tattoo last week.
Yeah?
On the back of, the thing.
Yeah, the tramp stamp. You got the tramp stamp.
No, it wasn't that. But I was terrified, and I went in, and the place looked nice, and then this guy who looked like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson comes around the corner, and he just looks at me with a giant needle and says,
It's all right. Don't be afraid.
See, that helps. It works every time.
he spelled it wrong.
The greatest car chase involving a bus and children ever happens, where he steals this bus and he's driving down these streets and all these bad guys come out with machine guns crashing into the bus, and the most it does to the kids as they're holding on is like, ah!
The kid actors in this movie are my favorite thing
so
ever.
Funny. But I mean, come on, they're unloading into this bus, and I'm glad no kids get hurt, obviously, but it just seems like they would have been safer being in with the bad guys in the jail that they had. He needed a better exit plan.
Yeah, he just going into the middle of the fray was his plan.
Yeah, it's just, and then when the bad guy's hanging on to the window and the kids are prying his fingers free, and they're like, get out of here!
That was the
You're
best.
mean! And he's a hardcore Yakuza, but a few kids prying his fingers free, too much. And then he falls and gets fucking run over, and they show it, and it's brutal.
I love this movie for this reason.
Because it's so insanely 80s violent.
Yes. And I wanted to
good.
see it all.
So good.
Oh, God.
So then he gets taken in by the cops, and he's... How does he get out of the cops? I can't remember now.
What's his face?
Yeah. Franco comes in and gets him out.
Yeah.
Franco comes in and gets him out, and he's like, I need your help. And then Punisher's like, fuck you, I'm not going to help you.
Why would I help you?
Yeah. And then he shows him Berkowitz, and he's like, a life for a life. And you think
Fucking
Berkowitz
is freaking out.
You think he's going to be a hostage for the rest of the movie. And then later on, he just shows up at the crime scene, and you're like, they just let him go immediately?
They're like, you know what? It's fine.
It's fine.
Whatever. We're the Yakuza.
He's already with Franco. It's fine. And I love that Franco's go kill people attire is denim Dan jean jacket with his collar popped.
He looked like Jay Leno.
He did.
Like 90s
He
Jay
looked
Leno.
like Jay Leno.
It's like, damn.
Oh, it's so amazing.
This guy might have a future in the theater or the Tonight Show someday.
Tell me the fight scenes, though, in the end aren't awesome. When they open up the elevator and Franco and the Punisher, there's just a room full of Yakuza just sitting there in a dojo kneeling, and they all stand up with their swords, and then they're like,
It's so good.
Then there's the dudes in like the feudal Japan armor, and he has a fist fight with them, a fist and kick fight with them. 3 minutes, got it. And those are two of my favorite deaths, I think, aside from the piercing of the stigmata.
I think the earrings take the cake for me.
When he pierces the guy to the wall with the spear, specifically lifts him up and pins him, instead of just, he lifts him. That's how fucking badass the Punisher is. And then he knocks the other guy down, and he falls on top of the very ornate, like, blade headdress or whatever was standing there, and the guy just has like 10 blades sticking out of him.
But see, this is why I love this movie, because I was actually telling a friend the James Bond movies, the recent James Bond movies, Daniel Craig, I'm not a big fan of them because they seem too realistic.
Yeah.
I don't want this type of movie to be realistic.
I like most of the new Daniel Craig ones. Spectre I didn't like that much.
I didn't.
I love.
They're good movies, but
Casino
it doesn't
Royale.
feel. Casino Royale is the best one of the bunch. But
I get it. You want a little camp with it.
Too real.
Yeah, there is a fun, just kind of ridiculousness to this.
Yes.
And one of my favorite moments that I don't even know if this is something you would have picked out, but the elevator repair guy.
Yes,
is
my
fucking
God.
hysterical.
Yes.
So
How long is it going to take to get an elevator?
It's hard to say. Elevators are very temperamental things.
So are cops that don't like being jerked around. Now, how long?
10 minutes?
How long? Hey, how long?
5 minutes?
It's hard to say.
mind you, this guy has a face that looks like. It's hard to say. Elevators are very temperamental things.
This was my favorite part. I
It's
think.
not so the elevator's not being temperamental. The Punisher blew up the elevator, and the cop's like, "Hey, how are you gonna fix this? Elevators are temperamental when they get exploded, like a lot of mechanical devices." And he just has this fake 5 minutes. It's
5 minutes.
He's such
It's
a
the way
funny,
it works.
I want this guy to be in every movie on the planet. So we gotta wrap this up. We only have like a minute left, which sucks because I want to keep going.
This
but
is
it's
such a
fine.
good flick.
It's fine. So what happens? Long story short. Franco's son is at knife point by the Yakuza leader, and then the Punisher crashes through.
Oh my God.
And midair throws a knife perfectly into her forehead.
Square into the fucking forehead. This is the best
Just
death
so
I've seen in a
accurate.
while. There's no build-up. There's no
there's no
conversation
build-up
between them
at all.
There's no, I'm the Yakuza boss, but
Nope.
it's, ooh, you are
Crash!
pathetic.
Shoot!
Boom.
And then
best.
Franco's like, "You killed all my competition. Thanks." And then they fight over a gun, and Punisher nudges it in between the vest of Franco and shoots him. And then you think that Tommy's going to be a good kid after seeing his dad murdered in front of him because he knew his dad was a bad guy.
Yeah.
But we end on the greatest epilogue VO ever, and another naked, sweaty, dirty, filthy. The Punisher never showers. This man smells worse than Rick Grimes on The Walking Dead. I'm certain of it.
On IMDb, the trivia says that Dolph Lundgren sweated so much in the movie he constantly had to be wiped down in between takes, which is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
Makes it even grosser. So can we play we're going to play the epilogue, and then we're going to wrap this up. The epilogue VO, please.
Oh, yeah.
I still talk to God sometimes. I ask him if what I'm doing is right or wrong. I'm still waiting for an answer. And until I get one, I'll be out here, waiting, watching. The guilty will be punished.
And on that note, this week we've been talking about the 1989 classic, The Punisher.
That's it.
Please comment below on this YouTube video. Tell us what you thought of The Punisher. If you've seen this, what's your favorite Punisher movie? Is this the one? Did you like Ray Stevenson? Netflix's Daredevil is off the table because it's obviously too good.
Yeah.
Let's go with the movies. What's your favorite Punisher from the movies? And also, give us some suggestions for next week. We're always interested in that. Make sure you tweet at us at Guilty Movie Guys.
That's it.
Write us a review on iTunes if you feel extra fancy, because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And if you like it even more, retweet it, share it, because we'd love to get more people on the Guilty Movie train. Cameron, where can they find you?
At the Only Camshaft, Twitter and the Instagram machine, Ben.
Yes, at the Ben Begley. And also, we are less than a month away from the Funhouse Massacre coming out.
Oh,
I know I keep
yeah.
saying it. June 7th, Funhouse Massacre comes out on DVD and video on demand. You can pre-order it. It's only $13 right now on Amazon. It's on sale.
Damn.
So you can get it $13 on Blu-ray, $13.98. I don't want to
good.
lie, $13.98. If you want to pre-order it, awesome. If not, then just watch it when it comes out. It's going to be in Redbox and all that stuff. Let me know what you think of it if you do see it. And until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.
Here is justice. Here is punishment. Here